Okay guys, heading out. Thought I might do a topic on what I would have done differently before moving to Japan. So first thing that comes to mind is I should have done it a lot sooner. You get in a little bit of a rut where you are, wherever you're living. You have these ideas to come to Japan. I had them long before I came here. But you sort of get in a rut, going through the boring things in life or whatever, and it just gets put off all the time. And during this time, I should have been more focused and had a timeline already set out of when I was going to do this, and it really focused on putting away more money would have been helpful, but as with everything, you come with what you got, don't you? But would have been nice to have a little bit more, but that's how it is. So that I would have done differently. I should have been a little bit more focused. I should have come a bit earlier because I'm almost 50 now, so I really should have come before I was 40, but that can't be changed. But that's one that stands out really big. Also, for what I wanted to do here, getting some extra skills. I would have really liked to have possibly done a few courses at a technical college or something like that, learning how to fix small engines, just a little bit more sort of skills, welding, just those sort of skills, a little bit of electric, a little bit more DIY. If you plan to live out in rural areas, all these skills, they really come in handy. I've got some skills, but they're limited. But to have a wider variety of skills would be handy, especially fixing small engines, stuff like that. Getting on top of the language a bit earlier would have been a great help, but it's not the biggest thing, because that can be learnt while you're here, and you don't have to be the greatest Japanese speaker to get by here, but putting in a bit more study with the language before definitely would have helped, but not as much as getting extra skills in my view. I lived off-grid in Tasmania before I came here, so I had a lot of experiences living in rural areas and putting up with challenges. So that sort of got me in good stead. But a little bit more skills never comes in. I was fortunate enough to have a Japanese spouse before coming here, so I've got a leg up on most people culturally. But reading up as much as you can on the culture, and talking with as many Japanese people as you can before you come, watching as many different YouTube channels, things like this will help you a lot. I've learned a lot. You learn every day while you're here. You don't know what you don't know until it happens. So getting as much as possible. I totally advise you to do that, and I could have done a lot more myself, so that's another tip. Another big one before moving here that I should have done is I should have went clothes shopping, and I should have bought a big load of clothes, hard wearing clothes, work boots, big woolen socks, for outdoor work because the quality of clothing, especially if you're a bigger guy, is really poor. So I would have gone down the army surplus store and I would have got as much clothing as I could, put in a box and sent it over before I arrived. So getting clothing that fits and is hard wearing is quite difficult in Japan. You have to pretty much get it sent over or know someone who works on an army base like I do who sent me some overalls from Kokolencho, Japan, and it's probably the best gift I've ever had living in Japan. Those army work clothes, army and navy work clothes. So that's another thing I would have done differently. I would have really loaded up before I come and sent it over. And especially boots, shoes and boots. It's a really difficult one here. If you're a heavy guy, I go through boots in less than 6 months. But the ones I used to wear in Australia, I used to be able to get a year out of them. If you need reading glasses, things like that, I'd get all that sorted out before you came, and multiple pairs. That's another thing I'd advise doing. Anyway, I've just got to go in and get a few things, and here's Gigi on his robot toilet. So, hope you like Gigi's robot toilet. So, another one. I didn't know this at the time that I would start a YouTube channel. That wasn't until I met Jaya. But even getting skills with a computer and things like that. So if you're starting a business or whatever, it doesn't hurt to have more skills even with computers. That's something I really should have put time aside for before I came. So all these little things, they add up, because when you're not in your own country, things are always harder to get skills. So whatever skills they are, doesn't matter what it is, best to get them before you come. Books is another one that if you're a reader like I am, it's a real pain getting books. You can really only buy them, and it's expensive. So getting your book sent over before you come, or getting them in digital format, definitely something I should have done before coming over. Because when you're a reader, you don't have access to sort of the books that you can get in your own country. It can become frustrating. So that's something I should have really thought about before I came, is to get maybe something like Kindle or whatever, and have a bit of a catalogue before coming. Another thing I would have done before I come, or should have done rather, is get all your qualifications, working history, certificates or whatever, and get them translated and get them put on a thumb drive as well in case you lose them. That is always something that can come in handy. So in the case of myself opening a food business, all my documentation from when I ran a catering business in Australia would have been very helpful, just to be able to give that to the authorities in Japanese. Would have saved me a lot of time. Also, as a foreigner, when you come here, it's near impossible to get a credit card if you're the type of person who uses credit card a lot. I pretty much lived on my credit card in Australia, and I never carried cash around, and I just paid my credit card everywhere, and just do the payments or whatever at the end of the month. Chances are you won't have that here, so don't close your credit card account off, because you might need it in emergencies. I still got mine, I haven't used it, but it's always good peace of mind that if a big emergency comes up, you do have access to that. If you need to go home all of a sudden or something like that and you don't have the money, at least you have your credit card from your own country that you can sort of pull out if needed. If you're a lady, there might be some products and stuff that you can't get here, like makeup and whatever sort of things. Also, a big one is headache tablets. So this is something that the ladies are here for their bags. So this is something that people don't really think about, but just simple like paracetamols and things like that. While you can get it here, it's not what you're used to, the brand or whatever back home. So taking your favourite one with you, as long as it's legal and whatever, totally advise that. I didn't take any of. I use Panadol when I get headaches, which is an Australian brand. I didn't take any, so I have to use the Japanese one whenever I get it, and it's just not the same. Making as many contacts as you can before you come in the area where you've chosen. You can never have enough contacts and things like that in Japan. Japan is a country where it's all about who you know, not what you know. So branching out a little bit more, getting more contacts would have been really great, but there's only so much you can do. But it's just something to keep in mind. Before coming to Japan, the more contacts you can make before you come, obviously the easier it's going to be. If you're planning to come out to the rural areas, my wife has a lot of experience growing vegetables, but nowhere near as much as the locals here. So getting as much experience as you can, growing vegetables and things like that before you come. Even if you're going to go to a polytechnic as well, all these sort of college sort of schools, if you have the time and the funds to take like these small courses in your own country before you come, it's just going to make it so much better when you come here. So the more knowledge you have, the better. So whenever you come here, there's always something that you could have done more of or whatever, but this is just to give yourself the best chance. A big one too is, it's not something I had so much of a problem with, but if you're not used to the Japanese diet, before you come, do sort of try and get a taste for the food before you come. Eating it on a regular basis, because this is what your diet will mainly consist of, because you won't be able to eat like a foreigner here, of what you're used to, unless you're super rich. So you'll be eating much like the locals. So if you can get more used to sort of the Japanese flavors, the miso and the seaweed and fish and things like this, if you can get the taste for it before you come, not only is it going to be more enjoyable, it's going to be much cheaper as well, because eating the Western diet is 3 times or 4 times more expensive when you come. So if you can get your body used to it and your palate and things like this before you come, be really good. My wife does all the cooking for us at home. I only cook when the cafe's open, so I'll make dinner if it's a cafe day, but I usually eat my wife's cooking, so I'm used to the Japanese flavors for over 20 years, so it wasn't such a big transition for myself. But if your wife's not Japanese and you're not used to the flavors, it will be a challenge. It's like everyone likes Mexican food, but you can't eat it every day unless you're used to it. So the more you can train your body and your palate and everything before you come, the better it's going to be. If you don't come from a country like Australia where driver's licenses get changed over automatically, let's say you're from most of the states in America, prepare yourself accordingly, because a lot of foreigners are driving around on international licenses because they don't have the time or whatever to go through the whole process of getting the Japanese license. And I know a couple of my friends have actually flown back to America just for a month, just to get their international license renewed and then come back over to Japan. So if there's a way that you can speed that up by studying or whatever, I advise that you do it, because that's another hassle that you don't want, is having to keep renewing your international license, and it's expensive, having to fly out of the country just for that. So just focus on what you need to do with the license. I don't know much about that because as an Australian, my license got changed automatically. But look into that and just try and make your life a little bit easier. Develop a lot of interest before you come. As I've stated in the previous videos, that the social scene in Japan is connected to activities. So develop some interests. It'll make your life a lot better here. My interest sort of mainly sort of farming and things like that. So it's quite easy where I'm living. But if you're not sort of that way inclined, any sort of crafts or whatever, just have a wide variety of interests, and your time here will be much better. Not only will you fill in a lot of time, but you also have a better social life with people around you. So get some interest, develop the interests, and bring your skills over, and any materials or anything you need to set up little clubs. I strongly advise that. Moving into country areas, something that I would have really liked to have learned more of was sort of the American way of preserving foods. So sort of in the hot water baths and dehydration and sort of the old school homesteading type skills. I would have liked to have known more about that before I come. I'm learning every day. Even though I work as a cook and for a long time, I never did any of that. Sort of that long-term sort of jarring and preserving sort of thing. That's a really important skill to have out in rural areas, especially if you're producing surplus food. So these sort of skills, they're great to have, and also it's sort of the thing that a lot of people are interested in here. They sort of preserve food as part of their culture, so you'll learn a lot here, but also bringing sort of the Western methods too, making jerky and things like that. It's something that people really enjoy. So developing these sort of skills, I would have liked to have done more of, but it's all hindsight, and I'm learning as I go anyway. And if you're not a cook or you haven't had a lot of experience cooking, that's something that I'd look into as well. Learning how to cook from scratch. It's quite shameful that so many people don't know even how to make bread. So if you're sort of a younger guy or girl, learn how to cook. Even go to a polytechnic and learn those sort of basic skills. It's quite shocking the amount of people in their 20s that basically live on sort of heat and eat meals, microwave stuff. So this is an underrated skill to have, is cooking. Don't underestimate just how important knowing how to cook is, how to cook your favourite meals. Even if it's just your grandmother's meatballs or something like that, learn how to do it before you come, because you're not going to have that available to you. even the best chefs, they're not going to have the same sensitivities, the same knowledge of how to do things properly. So just as an Australian, imagine what a Japanese meat pie is going to taste like when you're really dying for one. You know, you're just going to be disappointed. So knowing how to make the dishes that you really like, when you have those cravings, you can just go ahead and do it, and make some more for your friends. So definitely don't underestimate this, and I strongly advise to know how to cook, especially your favorite foods, because it just makes life much better, doesn't it? As far as getting as many skills as you can, I can't really stress this enough. Even just getting a truck license, it just opens up so many more avenues for work and things like that. It's amazing how many people can't drive a small truck or something like that. Definitely something I would learn before coming here, because if you ever need a job or there's hard times, there's always a lot of work driving trucks. And the trucks in Japan are small. It's no big deal at all. So I would definitely have a truck license if possible before coming. It won't be transferred directly onto your Japanese license, but at least know how to drive a truck if it's a big one. You can drive up to 3 ton just on a normal car license, and that's what most of the trucks are in Japan anyway. So, but at least knowing how to drive a manual transmission car, manual transmission truck, definitely I would say it's a must. Just to have that experience at least, because it will just open up more doors if you need to. Do some research on what things Japan will need in the future. Just as something to do before I came, is I went and got my aged care certificate from a polytechnic, and that took 6 months part-time study. And I got that as a sort of insurance that if things didn't work out with my business for whatever reason, I had qualifications to do aged care, and that sort of thing is at least a plus, and it's a growing industry in Japan. So I know that if things were ever really dire, there's always sort of work in aged care, teaching English, things like this. There's always opportunity. So just have a look ahead of maybe what the economy may need. Speak to people, do some research, and it doesn't hurt to have this before you come, even if you don't plan to use it. To have it, it can only be a benefit. What I've learned, sort of just watching YouTube and things, is people sort of work really hard, and they have a goal when they retire, and then they're going to retire to the countryside when they get older. And sometimes that just doesn't work out. Because by the time that happens, life changes. They may have grandkids, and they need to be close to their grandkids or to their kids or whatever, and it just never works out for them. And I've had even some comments sort of on my channel where people say, you know, I'm 70 now or I'm 60 now and I can't do it, and probably wish I could have done it. And as I said at the start of the video, you know, it's doable. It's always nice to have more money. It's always nice to have more of this or more of that. But it comes a time where you sort of just have to do it. And my only regret is I didn't do it sooner, really. That's my main regret, is I waited till I was 44. So it would have been nice to do it when I was 30, sort of when I first thought about it. But life is what it is, isn't it? So if it's your desire to come, this is my advice: get these sort of skills and whatever, and just try and get as much money as you can behind yourself. You don't have to wait till you're a trillionaire to do it, or it might not ever happen. So that's my advice on it. And yeah, don't wait too long if possible, and take advantage of programs that are in Japan. So there's programs now. I've said it quite a lot now that of the agricultural visas, and this is coming up, and it's probably going to get more prolific, and it's probably the best time to do it, because you have government resources going into these programs. So there's help available, there's people to support you, and this wasn't there before. So it was sort of only sort of working for a big company and having like super technical skills where you could sort of have that pathway, or even back then you could do it as a teacher. But that's almost impossible now because of the 12-month contracts. But if this is what Japan wants, and this is what you like, you know, it's best to go where the trend is, isn't it? And you can only do your part of getting yourself prepared, and just do it as best you can. Well, I'm going in. Hope you enjoyed this quick video anyway, and as always, hope you like the video.
Let's go, go.